translated as the Snow Woman. The Yuki-Onna is featured in many modern media, including anime, video games, card games, and books. Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Froslass, and Pokemon. Yuki-Onna is one of the more popular yokai, probably due to the widespread legends and depiction of a beautiful young woman. Since the Yuki-Onna is such a fascinating yokai, I wanted to pull it out of the D&D vault and bring it into the spotlight, where we check out the lore, ecology, and actual history that inspired our favorite creatures from D&D and Pathfinder. The Yuki-Onna can be found in the Oriental Adventures campaign setting, published in 2001, and was updated in issue number 318 of the Dragon magazine. This was for the 3.5 rule set, and I have transferred it over to 5e and added historical revisions. I'll leave a link in the description to a free copy of the homebrew on my Imgur to download, and I will also leave a link to the Oriental Adventures book and Dragon magazine issues found on the Internet Archive, also for free. It's worth a look, as it's about ninjas, dinosaurs, and pirates. What's not to love? That's awesome. For the lore, we read, beautiful spirits of the frozen wastes, Yuki-Onnas are either hateful and destructive, or kindly and helpful. In either case, they can be dangerous, since those who pursue them, whatever their intention, often find themselves lost in a blizzard. A Yuki-Onna appears as a human female of the rarest beauty. She has waist-length black hair, soft blue eyes, and full red lips. Her skin is pale blue and icy to the touch. She wears snowy white robes that continually billow and swirl about her, even when no winds are blowing. Some say that a Yuki-Onna is the spirit of a cold-hearted villain, while others claim she is the spirit of a shaman or shugenja who died while lost in a snowstorm. Perhaps both claims are true, and the alignment of a Yuki-Onna depends on her alignment in life. Adding to this from the Forgotten Realms wiki, the first Yuki-Onna was created from the spirit of Lin Zi. She was a concubine of Emperor Oiko Nifi, one of the first imperial rulers of Kozakura. Lin Zi was consumed by jealousy at the attention the emperor gave to his family, and as a result, poisoned the entire family of the emperor. The distraught and enraged emperor was so overcome with grief, he asked the celestial bureaucracy to deliver justice on Lin Zi. The celestial bureaucracy accepted the emperor's petition and transformed Lin Zi into the first Yuki-Onna, banishing her to the most northern part of Kozakura. Taking a look at the monster sheet, I will leave up the original one on the left, but we will be reading from the revised version on the right. Most notably, the Yuki-Onna has a high charisma stat, of which we will see why in the history section. It has a challenge rating or danger level of 4. Feel free to change any of these stats around though to make the Yuki-Onna more of a boss encounter. The Yuki-Onna has proficiency in saving throws of wisdom and charisma, skills, deception, +5, stealth +5, +12 in areas of snow and ice, damage resistances to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks, damage immunities, cold and poison, damage vulnerabilities, fire. Senses, dark vision, 60 feet, passive perception, 12. Languages, common, but we have an ability for that. Abilities, innate spellcasting. The Yuki-Onna spellcasting ability is charisma, spell save DC of 15. It can innately cast the following spells, requiring only verbal components. At will, and I won't go into description of all these, Paralyzing Glare, Blur, Disguise Self, Comprehend Languages, there we go, and Detect Thoughts. Once per day, Lose the Way. The character cannot use Survival to avoid becoming lost, and loses his innate sense of north if he has 5 or more ranks in Survival. The character cannot even find his way out of a closet without assistance, although he is perfectly capable of following other characters. This was taken directly from the update from the Dragon magazine. 3 times per day, a cone of cold. Snow dependency. A Yuki-Onna that is outside of a snowing area does not have its snowstorm trait active because of a control weather spell has disadvantage on all attack rolls, saving throws, and ability checks. Snowstorm. A Yuki-Onna is surrounded by whirling blasts of snow, even in areas that wouldn't allow for such weather, that comprise a 200-foot radius spread. Within this area, the snowfall and wind gusts cause disadvantage on wisdom, perception, ability, and ranged weapon attacks. A Yuki-Onna is unaffected by snowstorms or blizzards of any kind. A control weather spell can be used to negate the snowstorm. Special thanks to Asian Monsters 5e by Legendary Games for those two abilities. Actions. Multi-attack. The Yuki-Onna makes 2 cold touch attacks. Cold touch. Melee weapon attack, +8 to hit, reach of 5 feet. 1 target. Hit 33, 6d10 cold damage. If the target is a creature, it must succeed a DC 16 Constitution saving throw or be restrained for 1 round. Bonus action. Misty Step. The Yuki-Onna turns into a snowy mist and teleports up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that it can see. Aside from updating an old monster manual entry, the main purpose of the revision was to make up for what was lacking from the original, namely, connecting with the Yuki-Onna in history. The Yuki-Onna of tales and folklore could shapeshift into young women, control ice and storms, stalk lost individuals in the snow, or be a caring mother. The essence of these stories are brought out in the snowstorm and ice abilities, making a player lost ability, as well as being able to shift into snow and disappear. Let's take a look at the fascinating story surrounding the Yuki-Onna to give us a deeper understanding of how to use her in an encounter or campaign. Keep in mind that she isn't always evil, as we will see in the most famous story of the Yuki-Onna. The earliest mention of the Yuki-Onna comes from a monk by the name Sogi, during the Muromachi period, 1333 to 1573 AD. He recounts seeing a 10-foot-tall beautiful young woman in a white kimono, with long hair as white as the snow, in his frozen garden. When he attempted to talk to her, she vanished into the snow. Sogi shared his sighting with a local friend and was told he had seen the spirit of snow, Yuki no Sere. By the time of the Edo period, 1603 to 1868 AD, the depiction of the Yuki-Onna is overall considered to be a young woman, with long black hair, skin as white as snow, blue lips instead of the red, and a white, almost translucent kimono. She leaves no footsteps as she glides across the snow. She can transform into a snowy mist at any point, vanishing from sight. This popular depiction is largely in part thanks to Sawaki Sushi's work, the Hyakai Zukan, illustrated volume of 100 Demons, published in 1737, and Toriyama Sekien's Gazu Hayaki Yagyo, the illustrated night parade of 100 Demons, published in 1776. I apologize if I really messed those up. I tried to find a correct pronunciation of those words, and I had a lot of trouble finding one. Despite this, the range of stories is vast and can change per prefecture. Most of the tales hail from regions with lots of snow, mainly northern Japan. The origin story of the Yuki-Onna has 2 main thoughts. One is that Yuki-Onna are spirits of those that died lost in the snow. The other thought is that Yuki-Onna are the embodiment of snow itself, stemming from the spontaneous generation theory that living organisms can spontaneously be born from a large amount of non-living matter. Yuki-Onna aren't the only snow-related yokai, and can often overlap with the others, stories becoming intertwined. For example, Yuki-Onna are said to take children away on snowy nights to feed on them, much like the other yokai, Yubeme. This brings us to our next question. What do Yuki-Onna do? As mentioned, feeding the souls of lost travelers during snowstorms. Like a sort of snow vampire, is a popular tale. Another is that of the talking snow woman, where Yuki-Onna will engage in conversation with her victims. If you respond, you get eaten. If you don't respond, she will throw you into a ravine. Win-win. The water beggar variation asks for cold or hot water. Cold water causes her to grow, while hot water will melt her. In some cases, Yuki-Onna can even be wives and mothers until their true nature is discovered. One of the most famous legends is taken from Kirin, Stories and Studies of Strange Things by Lafcadio Hearn, which he heard from a farmer in Musashi Province. The legend goes like this. In the village of Musashi Province, there lived two woodcutters, Mosaku and his apprentice, Minokichi. Mosaku was an old man, and Minokichi was a young man of 18 years. One evening, on their way home from cutting wood, a great blizzard overtook them. Having reached a river that they usually crossed by boat, they found that the ferryman's house was empty and decided to take shelter. That night, while they were both asleep, a woman entered the house and stooped over Mosaku. Minokichi awoke to the bite of cold snow on his face, and in the snow light saw a woman dressed in white, breathing frosty white air over his teacher. Frightened, Minokichi goes to move, but finds that he is frozen still, unable to move his limbs. The woman turned to him and leaned over his face until they almost touched, and stopped. Minokichi was terrified, but at the same time, he found the woman to be very beautiful. The woman then whispers, "I intend to treat you like the other man, but I could not help feeling some pity for you, because you are so young. You are a pretty boy, Minokichi, and I will not hurt you now. But if you ever tell anybody, even your own mother, about what you have seen this night, I shall know it, and then I will kill you. Remember what I say." And then she disappeared through the door, out into the snowy night. Able to move again, Minokichi leaped up and peered through the night, but failed to see the woman. Minokichi closes the door against the blizzard and turns to find that his master is frozen to death. The next morning, after the blizzard had passed, the ferryman found the two men and quickly cared Minokichi. Frightened and ill, Minokichi kept the tale to himself and told no one, not even his mother. Once his health recovered, he went back to cutting wood just as he used to. A year later, on his way home, he met a young, beautiful woman traveling the same way as him, named Oyuki. Falling in love, the two eventually married and had 10 children. Helpful and kind, the village adored her and were amazed that Oyuki never seemed to age. One night, when the children were asleep, Minokichi was watching his wife sew by the light of a paper lamp. Noticing how she looked as beautiful as the woman he saw that frightful night, he retold the story of her when prompted. Rising in anger, Oyuki yells at Minokichi, saying, "It was I, Yuki it was. And I told you then that I would kill you if you ever said one word about it. But for those children asleep there, I would kill you this moment. And now you had better take very, very good care of them, for if ever they have reason to complain of you, I will treat you as you deserve." Then she screamed, turned into a white mist, and disappeared, never to be seen again. Taking this history and mixing it with the lore from Dungeons & Dragons will really flesh out our use of the Yuki-Onna in our campaigns. To help with player interactions and scenarios, it is helpful to look at the biology and ecology of a Yuki-Onna. According to the Forgotten Realms wiki, Yuki-Onna are roughly 5 feet or 1.5 meters tall and weigh an unknown amount. You don't ask a woman about her weight. A Yuki-Onna can live up to 500 years, appearing young until death. A Yuki-Onna will sometimes marry a man and will stay with him until he dies or her true nature is revealed. Or you offer her hot water. Yuki-Onna are active any time of the day in the winter seasons, and especially during snowstorms. Their diet consists of flesh and the souls of humans, called seki. Yuki-Onna are found in Arctic and cold climates, with a favorite terrain of forest, hills, and/or mountains. Taken again from the Forgotten Realms wiki, Yuki-Onna lived in the cold Arctic regions of Karatur, although most of them have been spotted in northern Kozakura. They made their lairs within mountain caves or valleys filled with evergreens. Their territory extended only a few miles around their lair. They rarely ever traveled beyond their territory. They would be found in solitude or hiding in the open as part of a human family. The many different retellings of the Yuki-Onna allow for creativity and versatility, while still maintaining a narrative true to the original. Deceit and ambush tactics are one of the main ideas behind them, hence the high charisma and deception abilities. In most legends, Yuki-Onna have power over the elements, including the making of disastrous blizzards and breathing cold air over their victims, turning them into ice. Yuki-Onna can be used for surprise battles or traps, or in missing persons cases for added mystery, since the Yuki-Onna takes people who are lost as well as children from villages. Another idea is having people frozen in different states of terror or confusion in a village, and players have to figure out the who, what, why, when, and how. This would be similar to the Greek mythology of Medusa and her petrified victims, but outside the Yuki-Onna's lair for extra mystery. The Oriental Adventures campaign book also has fantastic preset stories to try out. I hope this video was fun and educational. Be creative and find ways to incorporate the Yuki-Onna in your own work. Like and subscribe if you're inclined to do so. I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next one.